And we're back. Thank you, Kyle.
All right, we're back. We're back. I don't know what episode it is. What
I don't
episode is
either. Real estate in different states.
it?
Episode
15, 16,
15.
17, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a good one. We got some really cool guests on. Some local people from. Are you guys yeah, straight from Kalen and Danny? Said it right.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny because I always have to say his guest name because he doesn't know how to say him, and then he just got mine right. Perfect, Kyle. Good job, buddy. I'm
awesome,
actually proud
awesome.
of you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, awesome, guys. Thanks for coming on. First of all, thanks for taking time out of your day, getting babysitters to come on and all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. But um, I guess just introduce yourselves to us and our audience. Tell us a little bit about your background, anything you want to share, and then we'll jump in after that about the how you got started in real estate stuff. So go ahead.
Well, my name's Danny from Baytown. Born and raised, been here my whole life. Went to school at, started at Sterling, finished out at GCM, got my degree in instrumentation, and I work for Londell Basel at the moment. While we've kind of fund our real estate stuff. Uh, Me and my wife, Kalen in Baytown, been married for 4 years, going on 5. Been together for 9 years. Going on 9 years. Yeah. It's been good. I feel like we're a good team. We work together. We really complement each other, I feel.
Awesome.
A lot of our previous guests have been where one spouse works, and Kyle and myself included is in this as well, where one spouse has a W-2 and then the other ventures out into something else. And the W-2 is the stability while they get settled in or trying to find their dream. So y'all are the perfect fit for every conversation we've had on this podcast. But
You know,
um,
I feel like the W-2 part helps out with like even paying taxes, right? Because at the end of the year, if we were both, 1099 or if we were both commissioned, as you can call it, uh, if you don't keep up with your taxes, man, it'll sneak up on you. So W-2 part, they take taxes out automatically. So like at least we paid that portion of taxes because there's, taxes they get rough sometimes.
yeah, and what we've mostly been talking about is getting loans. So W-2 workers,
And
obviously,
that's true. You,
get
yeah.
loans a lot. Now, I've said this on I don't even know how many podcasts now, but the only reason we are in this house is because Dinah had her teaching job at the time. And I've said it 100 times, but without her, so when we got this house, so I quit my job. Yep, everyone probably knows this. I quit my job. We found out we were having another kid right after I quit my job. Um, and then she is the only reason we got this house, and we needed a bigger house because we ran out of room in our old house. So we got really, really lucky with her actually having a W-2 job at the time. But I, we'll get into that later. But Kalen, what you got? Introduce yourself.
So I was born and raised in Bacon as well. I went to Lee and Sterling High School. I graduated from Sterling, but I really ended at, people call it the bad school, but Peter Highland. Just because I feel like I was so done and over school. I was over being, I guess, I don't know, having school shoved down my throat so much. And I feel like I was wasting my time there, honestly. And so I got sent there because I was skipping so much and I had my son and stuff. But I feel like I was just out of place.
Yeah.
So ever since I graduated high school, I feel like I've been on a mission to kind of find my way out of a 9 to 5, figure out how to start my own business, figure out how to work for myself. So me and Danny have been through countless amount of business adventures, and a lot of people would make fun of us and, not believe in us. And in fact, even Danny makes fun of me sometimes, but I did. I joined a thing called ACN back then. And if any of them are watching right now, they're
This
probably
energy
laughing.
drink thing, like the pyramid scheme.
No,
No.
it's not any.
It's a sorority, right?
No,
No, I'm kidding.
It's a pyramid scheme. Like, okay, yes, I guess it's a pyramid scheme, but I feel like jobs are a pyramid scheme. So, I mean, but anyways, I say that because ACN, as silly, I guess you would say as it was, or a waste of time, I got a lot of my motivation and a lot of my training with it. Um, and so that's what motivated me and gave me the insight, or I guess mindset that I have. And so ever since I quit that and kind of ventured out,
What is
uh,
AC? I really don't know. Seriously.
it was where you get people underneath you to sign up for, um, they do everything. They do electricity. They do,
product. You ever heard of Amway?
yeah, they do
Mhm.
a bunch of
So,
stuff.
it was a multi-level marketing company, like, all
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they do
They do
like
like cell phone,
products,
they
they
do
do cell
internet,
phones, internet,
electricity, like
Yeah.
electricity.
Well, don't feel bad because I did the same thing. I joined Advocare. I almost joined WFG, which is a finance, same thing,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
multi-level
It's just
I got
marketing.
started and
the first one to get in, you can get
So
a bunch
Cutco, like
Cutco. I was
we're
about to say
all in.
condos where I got started, baby. Cutco.
It's
of
all the same stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, the first ones in are the ones that made it. And it was
Yeah.
cool watching them. But, after so many people do it, it gets too much. Um,
they have that whole like Grant Cardone style training. So like it
yeah.
pumps you up, makes you feel
Kyle
like
loves Grant. Don't get
yeah.
Kyle started on Grant.
No, man, I love that thing. But like Grant Cardone, like man, like I'm about to
So it
yeah,
gave me, I wasn't gonna, that wasn't my way out, but it did give me a lot of training and a lot of, you know, insight on my mindset. So anyways, after that, I went through a few other things. And then him and I started Southern Snow, which was a snow cone stand in Baytown. Him and my dad actually we bought a trailer, an enclosed trailer, and they built the snow cone trailer from the inside out, like custom made.
Mm.
And so we did that for what, like
3 years.
3 years.
He did that from like 16 to 19 or something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Um,
How
so
was that? Did y'all
I'm
make money? How was that? Were y'all profitable? What happened?
It wasn't
That sounds cool.
it wasn't bad. It was just it was like it was like just getting our feet in the water, right? Like, hey, we want to see what owning your own business is like. We want to see what, you know, I guess being your own boss is like. So her
Yeah.
dad kind of gave us the idea. He was like, hey man, you guys ever thought about doing this local thing? We're like, man, like that wasn't like our plan. We were like, hey, we're not against it, right? Like we'll try it. So then, we were like, let's just do it. So we got together and, started building the thing out, like you said. And then one
we
day,
had a dream of like being the next Bahama Bucks,
yeah,
like,
Oh,
yeah,
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 they
I,
just opened my broker from my real estate company. They just opened the first Bahama Bucks in Clarksville, Tennessee.
What's her name?
okay.
was awesome.
Kara?
Sierra,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they just opened it like a month ago. So I
Yeah.
never even heard of Bahama Bucks until they brought it here. It's
Well,
pretty-
we got the idea of the machines like from them because we never seen that style of machine, and we're like, man, like the ice is so good, and we were like, man, we're gonna beat them one day, right? Like that was like our thing. Well, but we got so she kind of like worked the stand while I still kind of worked, and we kind of like just worked together, and it was good. I mean, the way it happened, we were driving one day down Cedar Bayou Lynchburg, and there's an inspection place right there. And I was like, man, we were trying to think of somewhere to go, like park. And I saw like an empty space and I was like, hey, what if we just park it there? And she's like, oh yeah. I was like, I knew the owners of the place. So we like turned around and went and talked to them. We're like, yeah, you guys can park here. And we're like, okay, cool. So that's how we ended up getting our first spot. And we did that for probably 3 years. And then she got into real estate, like
No.
what?
Before that, that's how we
Oh
came to
yeah.
Todd's inspection.
Yeah.
So the owners of the inspection shop is who we rented the spot for Southern Snow.
Yeah.
Well, they came to us one day because they decided they wanted to sell the inspection shop. And at first we're like,
Well, remember,
okay, why do you want to sell a perfectly good business that, I mean, we would sit there all day, obviously, at the snow cone stand, and we would see how busy it is. And so we're like, why are you trying to sell? Well, then we saw that there was something going on about them trying to get rid of state inspections or vehicle inspections. They were trying to outlaw it or whatever. And we're like, oh, okay. They're trying to sell it to us
Trying to
before that happened. Well, I told him, I was like, look, it's a risk either way, but if it works out, it's going to work great, right? Like we're going to get our return back very quick. So we sat down with them and they showed us paperwork on everything. And it was just one of those things where we were like, it's either going to work or it's not. And so ended up buying it. And
You bought the building too?
no, so we actually rent the space from the owner of the land, but we own the business, Todd's
Okay.
Inspection. So from there, we bought commercial property right across the street. And we currently have that. We're working with the city of Baytown to get Todd's moved over there. So that's what we're working on for Todd's Inspection. So we own that. And then I started real estate right before we got married in 2018.
Okay.
And I always said that I wouldn't do real estate because I hate sales. I hate sales. I hate talking somebody into buying something if they
You
don't
joined
buy it.
MLM.
So
You're
I was
doing
like, well, somebody already wants to buy a house, right? I just have to find the one that matches what they want, I guess. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. And so I got into it and I feel like, I don't know, I didn't expect to like it this much. And it just ended up being my niche. And
I
I
feel like
jo-
real estate sales is easier because like you said, you're connecting somebody to something. Well, number one, probably their biggest investment of their life, but they honestly love it. It's like you have to sell it to them, but it real estate at the end of the day can sell itself. It's like they
yeah.
fall in love with what they're
You're helping them with the process. You're not talking them into buying anything. I feel like a lot of people look at real estate agents as salespeople. Oh, they're just trying to, get me to buy this house so they can get a commission. It's like, well, there might be some agents out there like that. But honestly, I don't want to sell a house to somebody that they don't truly love because then at the end of the day, it's it's not worth it. What's worth it to me is whenever somebody closes on their first house or, their dream home and them and their family are happy at the end of the day. I don't think I'd be able to sleep at night if somebody bought a home that they didn't like because they felt like I pressured them into it. But no, I love real estate. I was in it for 2 years before I started my team. And so now I'm a team lead and I just love it. I love real estate all in all. And now we're into the flipping and the rental game. And so we just hope to keep climbing the ladder.
so you start what year did you start your team?
2020.
Okay, so you've had
It's September of 2021. That's right.
okay,
September.
a couple years. So what was that process like? How many agents did you recruit to your team? What kind of led you to go that route, stuff like that?
What led me is whenever I started in real estate, I joined a team. Um, and I didn't feel like it was a true team, which every team runs their stuff differently. I have no bad things to say about them. It's just, it wasn't fitting what I needed at the time. And I ran into somebody, my team lead that I ended up joining at a family get together because he's actually related to them. And we sat down and talked. I met the owner of our brokerage and just fell in love with her. Um, and I ended up switching and joining that team. And it was just a total 180. Honestly, I feel like I owe my team lead like my career because I feel like I wouldn't be the agent that I am today without him. He was just he's still a great agent. And sometimes I wish I was still on his team because there's times even me as a team lead, I'm like, well, who do I call whenever I need something?
Yeah.
But he gave me everything that I needed. He gave me, all of the tools that I needed and he trained me. He trained me very well. And so I feel like going from starting with a team that didn't offer very much and where I kind of felt alone. I mean, I literally felt like I passed my test. They handed me my license. It was like, okay, go sell a house. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing. Um, and then whenever I joined him, it was like, hey, you're under my wing. I got you. I'm going to show you everything that you need to know. If you're negotiating a deal at midnight, I've got you. Call me, you know? And so I feel like I knew what it was like to not have any of that. And then going into a team that provided me with that, it was just like night and day. And so I appreciated him very, very much. And so I guess my vision for my team is I don't want any agent should never feel like that. And I want to give back what my old team lead gave to me. And I want to set up my team members to, if I hope that they never leave, right? I want them to stay on the team forever, but I want them to feel confident enough that one day they're not like, oh man, I can't do this on my own. I want to train them in the way that my old team lead did to give me the confidence to go out on my own. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, Kalen, I don't actually know this. Were you just 100% entrepreneur? I'm not going to do a 9 to 5, or did you ever have a job
I started working whenever I was 15,
okay.
uh, and I worked for the same company. I'm not going to say the name because it's in Baytown,
Okay.
but I worked for them from the time that I was 15 all the way until I was, how old was I? 23, 24.
Probably, yeah.
Was
And it
it
was,
full time? Like
yes. And in fact,
y'all did the snow cones like after hours, or did y'all have?
that was after. So I actually quit my job
I think a
to,
few jobs came before the snow cone.
yes.
So yeah, y'all said y'all tried a whole bunch of, or maybe not a whole bunch, but a couple other things before. Was there other businesses that y'all tried to start before the
So
snow cone?
I did ACN. I tried
Oh,
Secret.
that's the one.
I,
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Secret, but I tried that. Um, back
I
when,
love it. I love it. I think it's completely awesome that you never had a normal job and you just tried all this stuff because
I mean, I had,
you're not having, because that's how deep down so one thing I didn't say about myself before, I've said it on the podcast, but like I hate college degrees. I think they're a waste of time. Some people don't agree with that, but that's how I feel. But I just think it's so awesome that you just kept doing whatever you had to do until you found the one thing that you needed to find.
well, I wasn't good at school. And, I'm not going to say that every degree is bad. School, I don't hate it. Um, I just feel like a lot of times it's a scam. It's a money.
It is.
People get into
Said that 1,000 times.
Yeah, you
to
have.
go to school to get a degree to end up not even getting a job in the degree that they went to school for.
Yeah.
Get into all this debt, and it's just So I wanted to. I always knew that I wanted to work myself. And the job that I worked for, I felt like kept dangling a carrot in front of me, like, oh, one day this could be yours. One day this could be yours. All while working me to death. Crazy amount of hours, not giving me any raises, anything like that. But then the moment that I leave, it's like, you're replaced just like that.
Yep.
We're never here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we
So,
did.
yeah, but we tried a lot of things.
Well, I mean, before we did any of the snow cone stuff, I mean, my job's been the same. I've been in instrument tech for, I don't know, 12 years now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Danny, when did you start your profession?
Well, I started, my first job was, host as at a restaurant, right? And then from there, I did pizza delivery when I was going to school. And then I started doing instrumentation 2 weeks out of high school.
Yeah.
So my whole family works in the plants. So that was kind of like, hey, I guess I'm gonna do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I never really had. She more or less had the I want to work with myself attitude her whole life. Me, it kind of came a little late in the game. I was kind of like, hey, as long as I can make some good money, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
We tried to
So
get him on ACN and he wouldn't do it.
yeah, I didn't want to do this. Uh, uh, the the presentation didn't seem too good, so I didn't take on the ACN. Well, see, but it was a little different for me, right? Because whenever I started working, at a young age, So my dad's not here with us anymore. He's in another country, and that happened at a very young age for me. So I was 15 years old whenever my dad, got deported, right? So, um, at 15, you're supposed to be having the best times of your life, right? You're like in high school. You just started high school. I had just, I was in ninth grade. I was like, man, everything's going good. Life's good. And then when the one day tell us, hey, your dad's not gonna come back home. There's been an issue. He's back in Mexico, and we're like, okay. So from there, we all leave and go live with my dad in Mexico, and we're like crossing the border to come to school here, and then living over there, and then crossing the border. So that was like very hard time. Well, it got to the point where we're like, hey, look, can't really do this anymore. So I told my mom, I was 16 at the time. I was like, hey, you guys can stay, but I'm going back home. I'll figure it out myself. I don't want to do this too hard. Living in Mexico is not easy, to say the least. So we ended up coming back, and we were able to get our old house back because some friends of ours were renting the house while we lived in Mexico. But when we came back, we got back into the home. I told my mom, "Hey, look, I'm gonna get a job." So I got a job, and I would just give her my paycheck, right? Because my mom didn't work. My mom and my dad were very like old school tradition, Hispanics, where the mom kinda stayed at home, dad kinda worked. So my mom never really had a, like, profession per se. So for her, it was kinda difficult getting back into work. So I was kinda like the man in the house, right? I had 2 younger brothers that I had to kinda help support. So I guess I never really had the time to, like, venture off different, like, business ideas. I was just like, "Hey, I gotta get to work. I gotta start making money because my mom needs my help." Right? So very early, I started working. I would give her my paycheck, and as soon as I turned 18, I knew, hey, if I can go to the plants, I can make way more money, right? So that's what I did. So I started doing instrumentation. I started doing electrical when I was 18, straight out of high school, and I would work during the day, and I'd do night school at night to get my degree. And then once I got my degree, then I started doing instrumentation, and it's just been an issue with Texas. So I started at Lyndale almost 5 years ago. I've been there about 5 years now, and like I said, it's been good. It's been a very good support system for us and stuff.
Yeah, you should be proud, man,
Dude,
because
that when he
you're
told me that, c last week or whenever it was, I told him, I was like, "Dude, that's one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard." And I didn't think you were gonna share that tonight, but dude, it is still one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard, seriously.
yeah,
Yeah, I
dude,
mean,
like,
it's
so much
it's
respect for you for that, bro. Like, when I was
appreciate it.
18, man, like, you can ask Blake, we weren't ready to do anything like that.
No, we
So,
were
Yeah.
so
you just
bad.
step up
We were
and
so stupid.
Well, like, I listen to a lot of people like, a lot of these billionaires, and not everybody came from the top, right? A lot of them started from the bottom and made something, right? So I listen to, different podcasts, and I hear people like, "Oh man, I'm an immigrant. My dad came, my parents came here with nothing, and I'm a billionaire now, right?" So it's like the
Mhm.
same thing. I mean, obviously not billionaires, but like that going through that, growing up so fast really changed everything because I thought I was just a normal 15-year-old kid. Come home, you know, do your homework, and then you can do whatever you wanted, right? Well, once that whole thing happened, it changed everything. Like, I was no longer just a 15-year-old kid. I was helping, I had a 9-year-old brother, a 12-year-old brother, and a mom that's never worked a day in her life. So it was kind of like, okay, like, she's trying to figure out what she can do. And I'm just like, hey, I don't have time to, I guess, waste. Like, things got to get paid, I don't know. It's just, I had to grow up fast.
Yeah.
So, and I feel
Dude,
like
I
that was
freaking
part of
that's
the big
awesome, man.
push.
I respect the hell out of you. That's
Yeah,
freaking
that was the biggest push for me, I felt like, but what kinda sucks is that it put me in a position where, like I said, I wasn't able to really venture off and see what I wanted to do, and I feel like that right there, so she was kinda always like the risk taker, and whenever we met, like, I feel like we're the perfect blend because she loves to take risk and be like, "Hey, screw it, let's just go do it." And I'm more like, I don't know, hang on, like, let me think about this." Because you know, I felt like, and I got that way because whenever that whole situation happened, I was like, "I don't have time to take risk, like, I
Yeah.
need to make money, and that's it." Like, that was the only thing on my mind. If I don't make money, like, we don't
Well,
have money,
yeah.
right?
Well, it takes both, man, but you're doing what you guys need. You are like the home base
Yeah.
per
I
se,
feel like
right?
we've always said that. We've always like, hey, my income's kind of like it pays the bills, it keeps us on track. And,
Yeah.
with the flipping and really her income is what makes us be able to do the flips because, her income being, that she gets bigger chunks when she sells homes, stuff like that. That's really way able to fund our real estate venture, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, my job kind of just keeps us afloat, right? Keeps us going. And her
Yeah.
job really like
But
elevates us.
it allows the other part to happen.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay the bills
Yeah.
and get things done. So random thing. Have you guys seen the movie A Million Miles Away? Because your whole story is literally making me think about it. All right, you got to
No.
watch.
I'll watch it, but I haven't seen it. But
So it's a true story. So you got to watch it.
Okay. I'll have to watch
That movie.
you want to give a brief overview, like
Yeah, it's the first Hispanic immigrant grew up working, picking berries and stuff with his family growing up. That's how they
a million
made
miles?
money, and then they drove across the border for the kids to go to school. Well, the son growing up did this every day, went to school, was super smart. Well, basically, he wanted to become an astronaut at some point in his life. He failed the astronaut exam 12 times. Finally got it's a true story. Finally becomes an astronaut, goes to space. But he was the first immigrant to ever go to space.
No joke.
It's a
Hmm.
true story. It's on Netflix right now. It's a great, actually, it's either on Amazon or Netflix, but it's a great movie. PG movie, clean, like awesome, true story. But just you guys together talking about that is reminding me of the movie.
Oh,
Well, I mean, so whenever we first met, we both had like just, job, but
Well, we were in 2 separate places. I mean,
yeah,
we were like opposites,
yeah.
complete opposites. I was the mess because I was so broke.
what do you mean was?
You think you're still a mess?
Um, no, I was completely broke, working 2 and 3 jobs at a time. Still trying to make, I went through a divorce at a young age, which was um very, very, very hard on me. Um, and so I was just trying to find my way out. And, my whole life, school was shoved down my throat, which I don't blame my parents for that. I don't hate them for that. Um, it was just, the times, I guess, and what we're taught growing up, go to school, get good grades, get a good job,
Oh, okay.
retire, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just knew that I didn't want to do that. Um, and so I feel like I was so desperate to find my way out. I mean, there were times where I literally I was negative in my bank account. But I was going to find my way out. I was going to take that risk. I was going to take that business adventure. I didn't care what it took. I was going to make it. Um, and so whenever real estate came along and Todd's came along and Southern Snow and stuff, I just felt like God was lining everything up that I had prayed for and worked so hard for. And all those nights, I come from a wealthy family, and I feel like people assume whenever you come from a wealthy family that you're automatically just wealthy. And you were given all this stuff and it's easier for you because you come from a wealthy family. Well, just because you come from a wealthy family doesn't mean that, it's the same way for you. And, I didn't leave home with daddy's credit card or, a card given to me by my parents or anything like that. When I left home, I was 100% on my own. I have I had 2 kids, after my divorce. So I was a single mom working 2 and 3 jobs, juggling all of that with 2 kids, trying to figure out what in the world I was going to do. And then he came along and I feel like he was the stability and I don't know what you say. He was just the stability that I needed, like Kalen.
Just a foundation, just a
Yeah,
start.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
like, "This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start here." Because I was, like, all in, right? Like, I was like, "I don't care what, like, take all my money. Like, I wanna do anything and everything." And he's like, "Kayla, okay, like, hold on. Let's be realistic," right? So he brought me down to earth, and I feel like I learned so much from him. And so we were able to combine where we were in life and our mindsets and everything, and they just complement each other and worked off each other, so
mean, it's kind of like even starting Todd's, right? I mean, she was like, as soon as they even said, "Hey, you guys ought to buy it," she's like, "Okay, let's buy it." And I'm like, hold on, I'm like, hang on.
I haven't even seen
Yeah,
the numbers, but
yeah, I'm like, hang on, I'm like, look, like, at that time, like, we weren't like rich people. Like, I had the chance to save a little bit of money, and we had, Southern Snow, and like Southern Snow had taken off, and it was doing good. And so they were like, "Hey, you guys want to buy Todd's?" And we're like, I was like, man, I was like, I don't know, hang on, let's think this through. And she was like, "No, let's just do it." And I'm like, hang on, let's think about this. Let's figure it out if this could be a good idea. And at the end of the day, she was like, "Look, you know, I don't even want to say what we got it for because it's like it's
You don't have to say it.
yeah,
it." And he was just like,
Doesn't matter.
literally like, "Hey, like, do you want this?" And we were like, man, the way she like talked about it, I was like, you know what, like, it's a small amount, and not actually a small amount of money for us at that time. It was a big amount of money, right? But it was like, hey, look, at the end of the day, like if we fail, like we'll make the money back, right? And
yeah,
we'll be fine. And so she, we just took the chance, right? Said, hey, screw it. We'll go ahead and bought it. Hell, that first month we made our money back, right? It was just like boom, and then next thing you know, like the place took off, right? And I mean, the place has been in business for a long time. I think it just needed a little bit of a facelift, right? I feel like we kind of gave it that facelift, kind of made it, rejuvenated it, made it good again, right? So then once Todd's took off, I feel like that really helped us out a lot too. Getting started on everything.
Well,
I
and
mean,
he's leveled me out. Like I feel like I'm not as rich.
no, I mean, I feel like we've kind of taken both of our mentalities and made a good mixture out of it, right? Like, we're not like super like, "Hey, screw it, let's just throw 10 grand here." But we're not like, "Hey, I'm not gonna take any risk at all," right? We take educated risks. We kinda think about it like, "Man, okay, okay, that's fine. Let's do it." And if we feel like, if we try to take risk in a point like where we have an exit, right? We always
Yeah.
try to have I always try to have an exit plan, right? Because I feel like you kinda have to. You can't just go into things not knowing anything. You kinda have to have somewhat of an exit plan.
Yeah,
Which
for sure.
funny story with my real estate. So I had gone through divorce. Like I said, I was broke when we met. I was a mess. Um, and so he was trying to help me build my credit um, to recover from, going through all of that. Well, uh, he co-signed on a credit card for me, and I took my tax return for that year, which was very small. Um, but I put it. He was like, "Look, Kalen, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna co-sign on this credit card for you, and we're gonna charge this amount to it. We're gonna take this amount from your tax return and put it in your savings account, and that's what you're gonna use to make the payments every month. So if you ever get in a bind, the money's already there. But obviously, the point was to make those monthly payments." Okay, cool. Well, like 2 months in, I get the bright idea that I'm gonna go to real estate school, and he was working in Louisiana at the time. So, it was very, very hard for me to go through real estate school because he was working in Louisiana 6 days out a week. I was at home, 2 kids, trying to run Todd's inspection and the snow cone stand. And, then I'm like, "You know what? And I'm gonna tack on real estate school on top of it." Well, yeah, so and obviously I didn't have the money, and I was, like, looking online at the package, and I remember it was $945, and y'all, I had $960 in my account,
Hmm.
and I knew that this money was to pay that credit card, and I was like, "If Danny finds out, he's gonna kill me." So I was like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to real estate school, and I'm gonna surprise him."
he'll be so happy.
Yeah. Oh, so I spent $945 on that package because that's just who I am. I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Um, and so like what 2 classes in, I couldn't keep it from him because I was just studying all the time and stuff. And I was juggling so much. He's like, "Kaylin, why are you so crazy?" And so I finally told him, and he was not happy at first, but he ended up obviously being very supportive. Um, so anyways, I say all of that to say that, everything that we did, it was a very big risk. But at the end of the day, most of the time, if you take the risk, an educational risk, you're going to come out on top. And I feel like, no matter what I was going through, I was like, I'm going to find a way. And real estate, I feel like, was my way out. And it was worth every trial. It was worth every negative bank statement. It was worth it all. Um, and I don't know. I love real estate.
Well,
So how did
I
you
love
guys
that
start
story.
flipping houses?
Yeah, hold on. We're at like 37 minutes. So if you're okay with it, we'll take a stretch break, and then we'll hit one more episode. Is that
That'll
okay
work.
with you?
Yep.
You ready for a stretch break, Kyle?
Sure.
Okay.
Or maybe keep going if y'all are better.
I'm gonna take a stretch break
Okay.
because mostly people's attention span can't really last past 30 minutes.
Are you gonna stop it or are you gonna just edit it later?
Let's see.